So again, welcome anyone here for the first time. Welcome even more folks returning for their second, third, fourth. Some of the folks like sixth or seventh time. We're really happy to have you. This one is a particularly juicy town hall. We're going to cover a lot of ground, a lot of really great things that snuck in last minute. That we'll throw to various people here. We have folks from engineering and compliance. We have folks who are community delegates. Us folks in marketing. You can yell us at the end, and plenty to cover. So I'm going to go through the agenda for today, and then we'll start it off with Raf right after that. We'll start, as is sort of tradition here, with a little bit of state of TrueFi, a little state of the union with our own Rafael Cosman. We'll move over to Tyler for all things data and protocol health. See those beautiful Dune dashboards that we love so much. We're going to move over to a quick update on decentralization with Michael Bland. We've got one hell of an update that we're really rolling through, really towards step 2 of 3. I'll give a quick introduction to the new design of Discord. You may have noticed some changes around here. I'm going to give you guys a few pointers here. We're going to briefly introduce some, but not all the DAO committees. We want to give folks a chance to understand how they can contribute to this, great new thing we're on together and kind of building together. And I'll name some of the committees, and we'll talk about some ways that people can get involved. But we won't go through every single one today. Where they're going to talk about the on-chain voting. Hal is currently experiencing technical difficulties to get on laptop, but nevertheless, we'll do a quick run-through of how to delegate either to yourself or to another. And then we'll actually show you our first ever on-chain vote, which is going to be pretty cool. The opportunity for you to vote on-chain for the first time for a TrueFi proposal that's made it past snapshot, and will allow the DAO and the TrueFi DAO to basically claim some of the smart contracts that make TrueFi what it is. We're then going to welcome our friends at Teller. We're super excited to have them here, and the timing couldn't be better. The Teller portfolio just went live today. They'll tell you all about it, but you ain't seen something like this before. This is one of my favorite real-world use cases for crypto. And then finally, we'll move over to community announcements. This is your chance to bring anything you want to the fore. We're going to welcome some delegates who are throwing their hat in the ring. And one of my favorite things is that so many hats actually came in at the very last minute, even between me writing the announcement and you guys actually jumping on this town hall. And we'll finally move over to questions and discussions. We'll unmute folks who want to speak, and we'll take your questions. And as a reminder, we're all building this together. So I've seen some incredible folks jumping in and answering questions in general and beyond. So feel free to both ask and answer in Town Hall chat, the chat that we associate with this call. So with that, Raf, why don't you take it away and let us know all the awesome things at TrueFi. If you miss anything, I'll slip you a few pieces of news there, and then I'm going to be spamming Town Hall chat with some of the links. Raf, take it away.
Thank you, Michael G. Really appreciate the introduction. Hope everyone's doing well on this Wednesday morning here in the US and Wednesday evening over in Europe. Once again, I'm Rafael, CEO and co-founder of Trust Token, part of the team behind TrueFi, although it is expanding a lot more as we move into much more of a community-based governance over the past couple of months. I wanted to just set the stage today. We are meeting today at a time when the market in crypto is significantly down. Luna and UST and many other projects are unraveling because of either bad design, regulatory issues, financial issues, hacks, all kinds of issues facing crypto projects and the DeFi market right now. And this is a time when, as a team and as a community, we need to stay strong and just build, build, build. That is what we do when we get to crypto winters, or at least colder points like this one. And that is what makes our project and our protocol outshine over the long term, is we are able to continue strong through thick and thin. So we think that that's part of where products like TrueFi, protocols like TrueFi are really going to shine. And some of the announcements that we have coming up later today really highlight the launch of USDC.Homes in partnership with Teller, which is lending against real world assets, which is very exciting. committing to even fuller decentralization, which is something we've been working on for many, many months. These are all things that continue to make our protocol even stronger and really differentiate us as a protocol that is doing something that affects real world assets, real world finance, and is not just, perpetual motion machine the way that some DeFi protocols are accused of being. So, with that setting the stage, I think we've got some phenomenal announcements for you today. We have some guest partners that are actually visiting that are going to be introducing themselves to the community today. And I will hand it over to Tyler. Tyler, can you take us through the data?
And actually, since this is so fresh and it just dropped today, I think actually it might be strong to open with this news. I wonder, Raf, if you or one of the members of the engineering or product teams would be interested in talking about optimism, which we just officially announced today on Cointelegraph.
Yeah, Tyler or Kuba, either you want to take that? Ryan?
Ryan is traveling, but Tyler Kuba would be great.
I can speak to that quickly. So we just had press go out announcing that our first pools will be launching on Optimism soon. Really excited to get those live in the app. And the first example of that is going to be the follow-up perpetual protocol portfolio. So a couple months back, we launched a portfolio focused on lending to market makers on perpetual protocols, about a $5 million portfolio. That first one was a success. Perp got back to us and is excited to launch a follow-up portfolio that'll look very similar, but is native on Optimism. That's going to be the first instance on Optimism. And kind of behind all of that work to do that, it sets us up to launch many more portfolios and opportunities on Optimism. So we're open for business there and really excited about it.
Thank you, Tyler. And what does this really mean for you? The folks who are lenders, many of you are delegates. Just a quick note here, the use of Optimism and like most layer twos here is so much cheaper and so much faster that firstly, any of the folks here can begin lending to Optimism portfolios once they launch. Second of all, we like to think, we really strongly believe with the support of Optimism, that we're going to be able to tap a much bigger base of lenders, not just folks on the existing DeFi ecosystem of Optimism, which is sizable and growing, but also folks who have previously been priced out of lending to TrueFi to date. Ultimately, you and I all know how it is. Using Ethereum is not exactly cheap when you're making yields of a certain size on a bag of a certain size. TrueFi has historically been for people of a certain level of holdings who can actually make yield on the assets that they're putting into the lending pools. We expect this will dramatically increase accessibility, both globally and economically. Finally, the last thing there is we are so keen to tap into the OP incentives and to actually use those to hopefully attract a little bit more attention for folks that are able to tap into lending on Optimism. So you might see some really cool incentives going out to those pools. So I see, Tyler, that you're unable to share just yet. What I might do is, let's see if I can get you a elevated role to start.
Thanks.
All right, Tyler, check if you can share right now. Are you up?
Give me just a moment. Yeah, now I can. Great.
Okay, awesome. Great. All right, Tyler, take it away. Tell us how healthy TrueFi is now.
Okay, I'm going with my screen. Can everyone see okay? Should see a Dune dashboard in front of us. And before I start, I'm just going to drop in the town hall chat 2 links to Dune dashboards that I'll show on my screen. And so everyone can follow along at home and also on your own time. So I put those in the town hall chat, and now I'm going to flip back to look at the loan stats dashboard. So I always like to start here because it just shows us a good overview of what TrueFi has accomplished since November 2020 launch. Pretty proud of showing this, that TrueFi today has generated almost $1.7 billion in loans through the protocol. That's generated over $27 million for the lenders, and that's strictly for the DAO pools. That means that $25 million has been paid out to the lenders, and over $2 million has gone to TrueFi guts. So I think, we're on really good pace, and these numbers keep climbing. Kind of the biggest metric that we look at, or that I look at personally, is our TVO number. And for those that are new here, TVO is kind of our short for total value, or total loans outstanding. Today that's at $461 million, and that's at very healthy utilization, 87% utilization, meaning most of the funds in our pools are out in loans to borrowers today. And I'm excited. I'm proud of this number because everything that's happened. Raf opened with saying we're kind of in the crypto winter now, in the bear market, and that's all true. But for TrueFi, we're still kind of looking like we did last winter, kind of at the top of the cycle. And it doesn't show as much on here, but these TrueFi portfolios, what we really think is the future of TrueFi, that's like the fastest growing part of our business, which is going to increasingly focus on real world assets. I'll just go quickly through the second dashboard, and it's always good for us to check in kind of what has changed with TrueFi between the last time we met in Discord and today. So this dashboard, you can toggle it to show kind of any time range you want. I'm going to show 45 days because we met towards the end of April, the last time we all gathered here. In that time, the TVL in the TrueFi DAO managed pools, so that's TF USDC, TF TrueUSD, etc. That's pretty much flat. So still at $460 million. Now, where we've seen a lot of progress, again, is on those portfolios and what we're calling TrueFi capital markets. And that's grown to almost $60 million, which is almost double from where we were 45 days ago. So we've grown $30 million there. And back to, this is what's shown on the last screen. That means we're at well over $400 million in TVO at 87% utilization. Again, for kind of going through the rest of this page quickly, in previous times, our lending pools have been pretty skewed towards a couple really big lenders. That keeps shifting to where now we have many lenders taking part in our pools. We have, you can look at this pie chart to see kind of that breakout between all of our lenders here that keeps kind of growing into a healthier composition. And then I'll wrap up here with a couple points on stake True. True staking continues to grow in size, now 246 million True staked on TrueFi. That number kind of just keeps going up, which is a healthy thing to me. And then I'll close here with kind of market conditions, going back to how Raf opened this. As market conditions have changed in crypto, that has meant that interest rates across the board have gone down quite a bit. And so today, to borrow from Compound or Aave, those borrow rates are around 2%, which means it's harder to find yield in crypto these days. To me, I think that's a huge opportunity for TrueFi, because if you look at our app today, which I'll actually flash on my screen, it's going to show you that most of the rates here, and especially in the DAO pools, are around 10%. So we see here for USDC 9%, Tether 10%, BUSD 11%, and so that's looking increasingly attractive versus what's available on places like Compound, Aave, Curve, and I think really paves the way to bring in more of these real world opportunities that are generating real returns, oftentimes in the high single digits, low double digits. That's going to bring in just the next users to TrueFi. So I'll stop there. Excited to see you all here. We have well over 6,000 on-chain true holders now, well over 600 lenders, and excited to see this community continue to grow.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Can everyone still hear me just fine?
Yep,
Yeah, we got some awesome, great. We're getting a lot of thumbs up here. Lee, thanks for the love on this. Still one of the best parts of Town Hall, in my opinion. Not to steal any thunder here, I want to just introduce folks to the new TrueFi Discord. So you've heard us talking about this and writing about this and shilling it on Twitter. But the Discord has finally changed. It's finally taking a little bit more of a bigger role in TrueFi governance. Big shout outs to Hal and Michael Bland giving me so much legal and sort of product direction on how to design this thing. But with your time here, I want to just do a quick screen share, introduce two key components, and then we'll dive a little deeper. I'm going to share my screen momentarily. Just have me do my system preferences and all that stuff. So excuse me. Let's see. And we're good. Oof. What actually I might do here is, unfortunately, I have to exit to do this. But you'll see on the left side under DAO operations, it'll be the first channel here. You'll notice a channel called Verify STK True. Now it sounds suspicious. You have to connect your wallet and stuff like that. I want to give everyone here a little bit of relief that this is intentional and this is a trusted app. Using Collabland, you simply connect your wallet. We'll show a video a little later on of how to do this that Hal recorded. You click Let's Go. You're taking offsite. You connect the wallet that is holding SDK True. You only need one SDK True to qualify. After which you'll find a suite of channels open to you to actually take a look at. And I posted a photo of that too in Town Hall chat. You'll see a whole bunch of different channels. The committees channel, the DAO allocations committee, various committees there, as well as DAO General. DAO General is open to SDK True holders to chat in and just have general discussion amongst other verified SDK True holders. So the discussion tends to be even more substantive than it already is in general. And these committees are all sort of delineated areas for contributors who want to get their hands dirty and would like to see certain changes happen and otherwise want to be involved to do just that work. So a treasury committee where you could talk about ways to allocate the massive true holdings or to diversify the treasury or to put the treasury to work so it actually is able to earn some income. The allocation committee, probably the most important committee for TrueFi specifically, because it is in that committee that we expect a lot of decisions around whitelisting new borrowers to happen, or around approving new loan sizes or making changes to the loan terms to happen. It is that committee that's going to effectively be the credit committee, the sort of version 2 credit committee. Once you have verified your SDK True, you'll then also see this Join DAO Committees channel. In that channel, you'll see a message like this, which I'm uploading now. It gives you a bit of a sense, a small taste of the kinds of roles available to people. Now, this is hardly a final stab at this. This is just following some best practices from other DAOs we admire, from Maker to Olympus, to give folks a chance to kind of wrap their heads around some of the quick ways they can get involved. And in today's town hall, we'll actually cover some of these and introduce some interim committee leaders that will just kind of get the ball rolling there. But ultimately, the point is for everyone here who cares to make this thing even more valuable, who really just want to get their hands dirty, who really wants to build something great, to get in there, share some ideas, provide even smart contract code changes that they'd like to see, introduce new partnerships, propose marketing channels, and also propose ideas for treasury use in those channels. The channels can change. The channels can be shut down. New channels can be spun up. Leaders can be elected. Leaders can change. Treasury can be allocated to specific committees and so on. This is really in your hands now. And this is just the loosest guide rails to getting things started. So if any of this is confusing, please believe we're about to launch a whole bunch more materials on how governance works. including this particular part of getting involved in Discord and choosing your committees, both in written and video formats. So this will be very well documented. But in the meantime, for any folks here holding SDK True, who maybe were suspicious about this new verified channel with wallet connection, or who just, have been waiting for the right time to get involved in these DAO channels, now is a great time when you get a second to verify your SDK True, join the DAO General, say hello. It's super friendly in there. Find a committee that you like. And after some of the introductions from the folks that are going to be speaking about their interim sort of lead roles in some, but not all of the channels, we're not going to cover all of them today. We hope that you guys can kind of, start making some cool contributions. So with that, I want to move on to the next section here, and to invite some of the folks who are interim leads of these committees to speak up a little bit about them. Raf, I wonder if you would be willing to start with the allocation committee, and then when you're done, to just hand it back, and then we'll call out the other folks who are making contributions here. If you could just speak a little bit about what is the sort of goal of the allocation committee, and also what might be useful ways for folks who are interested in contributing to get started. In fact, the allocation committee has had a ton of discussion lately in the last few days. That'll be a great place for us to start, and then I'll take it back and I'll pass it on to the next person. Unless you'd like to delegate to John. So I'll let you make the call.
I'm happy to start, and if John wants to add anything, happy to have you jump in here, John. Can you hear me all right, Michael?
Yes, sir.
All right, so for everyone to have context on the DAO allocation committee, I think you all know that the way that the DAO pools have run so far is that the credit team here at Trust Token has made recommendations about how those pools are going to be making loans, and then those have gone to an on-chain vote by SDK TRU holders that I hope most of the folks here have been participating in. Now, that model is still somewhat centralized, and we want to move away from that. And so that's where the DAO allocation committee comes in. It is going to be making recommendations to the community for what to do with funds in the DAO pools. Now, we see the purpose of the DAO pools long term as not actually executing any individual lending strategy the way they are today, focusing on lending to some of these crypto borrowers like Alameda, Wintermute, and so on, but instead actually deploying capital into other portfolios, because really the purpose of this DAO pool capital should be growing the protocol overall, in addition to providing an attractive return to the lenders into those pools. So that's what the DAO allocation committee is going to be focusing on, saying, okay, here's a new portfolio manager. They just launched a portfolio on the protocol. They're asking for $15 million of seed capital from the DAO pools. Can we meet that, and what terms would we want to put on that? And that's the kind of recommendation that the DAC, the DAO allocation committee, is going to be making to the community. Any questions? Was that a good explanation, Michael?
That's a great start. We'll take some questions in the town hall chat or directly in that committee, and we'll move things along. We've got a lot of really cool committees to cover. So I'll move the next one on to the policy committee, and we have a delegate selected for that. So I hope that you're ready to take it away.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for those of you who attended the DAO Twitter Spaces yesterday, to sort of reintroduce myself, sort of through my personal account. This is Michael Bland's Senior Corporate Counsel for Trust Token, and I'll be stepping into sort of an interim policy lead for the policy committee, and we'll be spinning that up. And this will be a general policy committee, looking at everything from DeFi regulations, crypto regulations in general, crypto lending, as well as sort of governance motions moving forward. So really can take this for anyone that wants to join in those discussions. We'll be moving a lot of that into the policy committee Discord channel to talk about regulations throughout all the jurisdictions that we operate in.
Awesome, thank you. Next, we're going to go right to the Treasury Committee for this run. And Tyler, I believe you raised your hand to speak a little bit about this one. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, happy to. So really excited to get more people involved in working with TrueFi's treasury, I think there can be quite a bit that falls under this umbrella. Probably the most pressing issue to start is just how we handle incentives and kind of figure out our long-term structure for how true tokens are emitted by TrueFi, by that true token, all the true tokens in our treasury that are unallocated today. We've had a lot of discussion on the forum on this in the past, and now we kind of have a formal place to go deeper on this. As we go along too, Treasury will have the function of deciding what to do with fees earned by the Treasury. So by the new portfolios in TrueFi Capital Markets, those portfolios just over the last couple months have earned over $50,000 worth of fees. So those are starting to pile up, and this Treasury Committee can start to use those to fund DAO activities, or really just figure out the best use of those funds. So I'm excited to work with everyone in that capacity.
Beautiful. Thank you. We are going to introduce the partnership committees in brief. I know Ryan is traveling right now, which is actually probably the best indicator of the hard work of the partnerships committee. We're going to have a team over at Consensus. So if you are there, do send a message, in random or one of these channels to say hello. And we also have some cool events on the side I'll share later. But besides that vote of confidence, the partnerships committee is going to be oriented around finding, obviously win-win opportunities for the protocol with other projects, other lenders, borrowers, portfolio managers. To date, this has been a lot of inbound work, a lot of outbound work to both TradFi and other DeFi protocols. But possibly some of the most exciting opportunities, I don't think that TrueFi is entirely tapped yet, is doing a lot of protocol partnerships. Possibly the most exciting thing happening for TrueFi soon is going to be the influx of about 100 million each, we hope, from Frax and MakerDAO, already sort of greenlit by their by the governance committees. And that's the kind of win that the partnership committee hopefully is in charge of. We see a lot of opportunities in the DeFi space and the TradFi space, and even in that sweet middle of Web 2 fintechs. Partnerships is going to be oriented around new portfolio managers, and even beyond that, maybe giving some of the leads they find for marketing opportunities over to our marketing committee. So Ryan is the interim lead there. I can't think of anyone better for this job, but that's one of the possibly lowest hanging fruit in terms of contributions from the community at large. We've had some amazing folks come from the chat here. Folks in this chat are money managers in venerated New York institutions, Hong Kong capital allocators, you name it. We've had some incredible people on this channel, and the partnerships DAO committee is a really good place to put some of that network to use. So with that, I'm going to transition to the marketing committee. Obviously, I put my hat in the ring for this. As far as what this committee does, I see it as a twofold mandate. The first is to serve our existing community with really great educational material, with really great community management, and really making sure that the community has all the tools to function effectively. You're going to see a lot more coming from us, both on the sort of DAO funded side of things in terms of educational material, as well as just campaigns that we hope to do as a community. For example, events that we hope to co-produce together. And then the second side of that mandate, in my view, is growing that community. To me, that is both grassroots stuff like AMAs, just producing great content that attracts inbound folks, but also a lot of outbound stuff. That would mean actually going to conferences and picking the right ones. That would include helping us get leads for some of those conferences to speak. If anyone has any references, it would include introductions to podcasts, managing those, and even using some paid media, allocating TrueFi Treasury to that when it makes sense. Maybe that's a Bankless sponsorship, or maybe that's a Blockworks, paid report. In that committee is where we discuss these things, and that committee is where we beg for money from the Treasury to make this thing pop. If there's any mandate that I like to operate that committee under, is on the far left side of obscurity is what's TrueFi, and on the far right side of deep familiarity is I know TrueFi, I love TrueFi, I use TrueFi, and I hope to partner with TrueFi. And that's where we want to take people from left to right. So if there's any people who have aspirations for marketing or who even want to just train some marketing skills, I promise you myself, I will be happy to train you in marketing skills as best as I possibly can. And I'm sure you'll teach me many things along the way. And that committee is the place to do it. So please do join and put your hand in the ring, and we'll find a really good opportunity for you to work on something cool. So that covers all of our TrueFi committees. Hopefully, some of the folks listening found, one or two opportunities that they thought that could be really interesting to play with. If that's you, you don't have to come in with a great big strategy or idea. Just go into that committee after you verify your SDK true and just say, hello, I'm interested. I want to help. What needs doing? And we'll take it from there. That's a great place to start. So thanks so much for all that time. Now we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda here. And we want to talk a little bit about on-chain voting. We've gone through Discord, the top layer of sort of TrueFi governance. In the middle is a forum post usually, where we discuss things and do a sentiment vote. And after that, we do a snapshot vote. And when all that's done, things go to a on-chain vote, a binding on-chain vote. That's what really makes this thing decentralized. And I can't think of anyone better to guide us through this than Hal. So Hal, why don't you go ahead and take over, screen share if you like, and you can tell us a little bit about the on-chain voting and delegation, and then also tell us about the first TrueFi improvement proposal that just got up. And we'll let you take it from here.
Hey everyone, Hal here, product manager at TrueFi. I'm really excited to do a live walkthrough today of Tally. So Tally is a tool that allows you to connect to many different governances in a single website. We decided to use this tool because it saves time on development and is sort of becoming a standard as we grow the ecosystem. Yeah.
Go now.
And Hal, do you want to screen share for this?
Yes. Sorry,
you can kind of walk us through a little bit. There you go.
Somebody talk.
Nice.
Okay,
there we
so
go.
this is Tally.
Sweet.
So if you go to the Tally homepage, you can actually see a list of a bunch of different DAOs and which DAOs have active proposals. And if you create an account, you can actually manage your own DAOs. So because I have, ENS, Uni, and Stake True in my wallet, these DAOs will actually just show up automatically. So we're going to go here to TrueFi, and this is the sort of homepage, which allows you to look at information about TrueFi governance and participate in TrueFi governance. So I'm just going to do, I think what we want everyone to do is to delegate True, stake True, either to yourself or someone else. And so I'm just going to walk through that quickly. I have an account.
If you want to be able to participate, you have to delegate to yourself first, right?
Actually, this version we're using, if you haven't delegated to anyone, it will automatically assume you are delegating to yourself, which is nice. So anyone holding stake True right now actually can participate in governance without delegating.
But if you're not planning on yourself voting on these proposals,
do you want to show delegating to any of the folks on the list? I'm actually kind of curious to show folks how to delegate, because we're about to talk about delegate platforms at the end.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's, if you're not planning on participating, we would definitely love for you to read through those delegate platforms and select one of them that you feel really will represent your views and you want to have your token weight.
Right. So delegating is super easy. It is the first button at the top. There's a button to create a proposal and delegate. You hit the delegate button. You hit delegate, choose an account. So I have actually I've set up an account with Tally and attached my account to it. So you can verify your Twitter, add a custom name. So as soon as you paste in my address, it's actually showing up here. So I'm going to go ahead and delegate and send the transaction. So once this transaction is confirmed, then the voting power in this account will actually be delegated to the Healthy Wet account. Furthermore, you can actually see this is a nice sort of layout. You can see a list of all TrueFi voters, and there's a call to action to delegate to anyone. So let's say I no longer wanted to delegate to myself, and I'm like, oh, I want to delegate to Tyler Ether. You can just go through this list and actually hit the delegate button and delegate votes to somebody on this list. I do want to take a minute to talk about, I was going to do a walkthrough of actually executing an on-chain vote. Unfortunately, the voting delay that we had added, didn't allow voting on this. But this first proposal, which is our first on-chain proposal ever, will be available to vote on in about maybe 200 minutes. So I'm just going to give a quick description of why this is important and why I encourage everyone who has staked True to go and vote on this. So the goal of this proposal is to actually have the DAO take control of the TF-TUSD, TF-USDC, TF-USDT, and TF-BUSD pools. These are the 4 permissionless pools that have been with TrueFi for a long time and have previously been managed by Multisig. By voting to pass this proposal, the DAO will actually claim ownership of these pools and have the ability to upgrade them, to change how they work. And this is huge because this makes TrueFi a truly DeFi product where all decisions made about the liquidity in these pools or the function of these pools is in the hands of staked True holders. So I encourage everyone to check out Tally, to delegate to someone else if they don't plan on voting. And if you do plan on voting, to read through this proposal and and we'll see how our first vote turns out.
Awesome. Thank you, Hal. And if you wouldn't mind actually dropping the voting, the on-chain vote for that tip in governance in the public community, that'd be an awesome place to get folks to take a peek at it in those 200 minutes. Now, with us, we have some dear friends from the Teller team that we're inviting to join the conversation here. I see Ryan here, and I'm also looking for one more person. Ryan, you should be unmuted now. Who else am I looking for to unmute? Is there one more person?
You are looking for Eden.Homes.
Eden. Oh yeah, Eden 3D. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, awesome.
Hey,
Well,
how's it going?
Awesome. Eden and Ryan. Awesome to see you guys here. And I'm going to tap Ben from our team to talk a little bit about this from the TrueFi side. But maybe I can tee this up real quick. And then Ben, I'll hand it off to you to talk a little about the relationship, and then we'll kind of throw a few questions at everybody, and we'll also take questions in the community in chat. So with that, the Teller relationship is a super special one. I've been looking at Teller since the very early days of the early NFTs, and I thought what they were doing was really, really special. The sort of retail uncollateralized lending. Early to the game, and I never expected that there would be this beautiful relationship between TrueFi and Teller. So imagine my surprise when I learned about the upcoming USDC.Homes portfolio. Not only that, but this portfolio is something I hadn't really expected crypto to do. And with this relationship with Teller, we're over here allowing retail investors to lend to homes that are crypto collateralized. So crypto mortgages in Texas. I mean, it is a wild relationship, and I can't really think of anybody better to talk about it than the folks involved in making it happen.
Let's dive in.
Yeah, there you go. So before we actually jump into too many questions, Ryan, Eden, perhaps I'll give you guys introduce yourselves in that order.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that introduction, and honored that you've been following since the NFT days of last year, Or we
Might have
pioneered.
one, not to show too hard, but
I
might be
love
the only
it.
one.
Well, thank you for supporting in the community, being a part of the community. Hi, everyone. I am Ryan, founder of a protocol called Teller. We are building DeFi's marketplace for loans that are built on credit. So we work kind of like OpenSea, but for loans, where each loan is individualized and you can track everything on chain after the borrower gets the loan. So the difference between us and TrueFi is that we don't have pools. Every loan is an individual loan itself, whole loan. So no loan is fractionalized. And that makes the relationship with TrueFi so magical because all of a sudden for retail lenders that maybe don't want to take the time to understand each specific loan and opportunity, they can deposit their money into a portfolio that's managed within TrueFi. And that's what the portfolio that is launched today is. For USDC.Homes, today you can deposit into Pat's portfolio. Pat will come on and talk in a second. You'll be earning somewhere between 5 to 8%. And what's interesting is, as you guys showed at the start of the talk, the rates in DeFi have started to shrink. They're down to 1 to 2% for USDC in over collateralized lending and compound and Aave. But the rates in real estate, even with the current economic environment from a broader perspective, rates are still pretty good. And now, for the first time, retail lenders have an opportunity to earn that interest. And it's a really cool narrative because just like DeFi has been over collateralized with Bitcoin or ETH, you still have an over collateralized sector of DeFi where it's over collateralized by a home itself. So without further ado, I'll introduce Pat, if you want to come on and talk and speak a little bit more about your background and the launch of the pool.
And I'll have to unmute Pat.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, excellent. Good. Go ahead.
Interim, which is a sustainable real estate development company in Austin, Texas. Also, a real estate attorney by trade, and I am the owner of the first on-chain real estate tool operation and sell. So, mortgage industry and trade.
Hey, Pat, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If I could pause you, if it's possible to bring your mic a little closer to your mouth, or otherwise improve your connection, that'd be amazing. We're having some mic issues on your side.
Oh no, I'm sorry about that.
That's a little better. Whatever you're doing now is actually pretty crisp.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know how much that didn't work. Which is a 3D printed sustainable real estate company. Are we cutting out again?
A little stronger now, but it's touch and go. It's touch and go. So we'll have you talk for a little bit more, but if you can maybe put some highlights into chat, town hall chat, just in case we don't miss anything. Yeah. So we'll let you finish, and then we'll have you put in some bullet points in chat so we don't miss anything. That will be a good move forward, and then I'll throw some questions at folks to kind of move things along.
That sounds good. We're doing crypto real estate mortgages. I'll leave it that short and simple.
Beautiful. And your voice is sounding great. Proper radio voice now. So I think we're good to run it from here. And with that, I think we want to definitely say hello from the TrueFi side. I know a lot of folks were part of making this possible and actually constructing this portfolio. Ben, do you want to speak a little bit to the sort of TrueFi Trust Token side to launching this thing? Or is there anyone else you'd delegate to?
Ooh, could I add briefly, Michael G? We had a great conversation with Ryan and Pat yesterday on the Twitter Spaces.
Sure, Ben. No volume on you.
Oh, seriously? Darn.
Well, I think, at the end of the day, I think I shielded this enough. So can everyone hear Ben or no?
Oh, I wasn't talking. I was letting Raf take that.
Oh, I apologize. Let me unmute Raf.
Raf, are folks able to hear me?
My fault. I apologize. Go ahead, Raf.
Okay.
Take it away.
Oh, I was just saying, Ryan and Pat, it's great to have you both on. Wonderful to be partnering with you on this. For folks who weren't there, we had a great Twitter Spaces conversation with Ryan and Pat just yesterday. That was really fun. I hope we're going to do many more. And it's a $5 million portfolio that's going to be doing lending to folks buying real estate in Austin, Texas, which we think is a great use case of our protocol and Teller. And I think what you heard from Ryan is they've got this really interesting order book based protocol for doing lending, but they don't have any pools. We've got this really interesting pool-based protocol for doing lending, but don't have an order book. So there's a natural combination. People who want to go and pick individual loans, individual mortgages that they may want to invest in, can do that directly on Teller. But people that just want to put money into a pool and then have that be deployed by a professional, that you can do on TrueFi. It's a really natural combination. We love to see this kind of DeFi building blocks plugging together. And this is just a $5 million portfolio. Real estate is a huge sector. If this is successful, this could be way bigger than just 5 million. And it's a great example of us being able to launch portfolios that are targeting these kinds of very compelling real world assets. So something that we're super excited about. Ben, I'll hand it over to you because you're part of the product genius behind this launch.
So yeah, thank you for that. And I'll be quick here. I think many of you all on the call right now have probably heard me speak a little while ago about the strategy and how we, the institutional side of the house, are working with and supporting and growing with the TrueFi protocol and now the TrueFi DAO. This is just another fantastic example of how not only are we bridging real world assets, making the TrueFi lending marketplace a place that any lender or investor can come in, access yield in both kind of this TradFi world, but also in DeFi, but working with amazing partners like the Teller team, Homes, like this fantastic group to support anyone managing a credit and lending strategy to do so on TrueFi, making TrueFi the default protocol for managing any sort of credit or lending strategy powered by the blockchain. And that's something that we're so excited to do. So echoing the enthusiasm for everyone else here, so excited, Teller team, to have you all on board, have this portfolio launched, and a lot of folks involved on your side and internally who made this possible. So too many shout outs to name, but hopefully that's a helpful, quick description. I can't hype it more than Michael G here, but feel free anyone else to ask me questions either here or in the chat. But that's the quick perspective from the trust token side of the house.
Awesome. Yeah, well, it's part of my job description, so hopefully I can do that well. Let me also start through a few questions at you. I shared launched this portfolio over in Lobster DAO, great little chat space for all things happening in DeFi. And some of the most recurring questions were, so does this mean I can buy a house with crypto? Or how do I get a loan for a house in crypto? And so I wonder actually if the Teller team could speak a little bit to, or this USDC.Homes sort of reps here, could speak a little bit to what this is like of an experience on the borrower side, on the end user side, someone trying to buy a home, maybe has some crypto stashed away, and wants to make a purchase of real estate. What is that experience like?
Let's do it. And I think we should dive into the problem of today. If you are in crypto, you have assets in crypto, maybe you've been paid in crypto from a DAO in ETH or USDC, or you just yield farm in crypto and that's where you make income, you don't have traditional credit. And it's very hard for you to get underwritten by a bank or a traditional private lender in the non-crypto world. So that leaves a lot of us in crypto under this dilemma where we don't want to liquidate our crypto just to buy a place, but we do want to get access to a mortgage or some type of financing to secure a property. So this is where USDC.Homes comes into play, where a crypto individual may already have assets that are staked either ETH or USDC, and they might be earning interest. We allow them, so USDC.Homes, in combination with Pat, and Pat can step on about it, USDC.Homes enables them to keep their crypto collateral, leverage the actual income they're earning from yield farming or from lending to pay down monthly installments and close on the property. The way this portfolio works, and I'll let Pat step in here, is once a crypto individual borrower or home buyer is underwritten, they then have the money in their hands before they close on the home. It's almost like being able to close with cash financing. And if you could step in and talk about the borrowing experience you've put together for USDC.Homes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ryan. just a little bit of background. So I am a real estate attorney by trade. I'm also a real estate broker, and I've worked in the real estate industry for the past 10 years. So the intersection of real estate and crypto is something that I think is really exciting, and it's going to be only increasing over the next decade, right? But yeah, per Ryan's point, the use case is pretty clear for crypto users, is that they have traditional access to credit, or they don't have access to traditional credit, and we're trying to figure out how you can leverage your crypto assets to get a piece of real estate in IRL, right? And so right now, the way it works, we're doing a beta program with this first pool from TrueFi, and we are, when somebody is interested in purchasing a home, they will go and they'll fill out our online application. And we've had actually 40 people interested in just Austin alone, which I guess isn't surprising because there's a lot of crypto users in Austin. But we've had pretty great initial interest, and so our users go on, they fill out an application. Then they basically list their crypto assets, and so we'll review them, and we'll look at their crypto assets, and we'll look at the house that they're wanting to purchase if they've selected one. And it really kind of works like a step version of traditional financing. And the reason we're able to do that is because we will take their crypto assets and we'll take that as collateral in addition to the real estate. And so in a sense, we're over collateralized, but we don't require anybody to liquidate anything. And all we require is that they make their payments on time. So
incredible service, and you find a real niche in the market here. Then I wonder, what is the hardest part of setting this up? Because it seems so obvious to give folks a solution on the crypto side of things to make home purchases. But I'm curious about the process of building this product. What sort of onerous, regulatory and financial engineering problems you guys have to solve on the way to getting this thing live?
Well, so there are a lot of regulations when you are lending in what's called the qualified mortgage ecosystem in the United States, which is basically set up by Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and FHA, which governs all mortgages that would potentially be sold on the secondary mortgage market in the traditional context. You can, however, do what are called non-qualified mortgages or non-QM mortgages. And so we're kind of operating under the regulation scheme the regulation scheme of non-qualified mortgages that Fannie and Freddie have promulgated. And so those regulations are a lot looser. They're kind of designed for investors. And so that's how we're able to basically not have as intense credit regulations. The first initial beta program is essentially investment loan, right? And so basically we've just kind of mirrored the investor loan process and started to apply some of it to the DeFi sphere. And so during the beta program, we're actually kind of double creating work for ourselves because everything is done as a traditional real estate transaction and also in the crypto space. And we're kind of just going slow to make sure that we can onboard as much of the process into crypto. I mean, for us, this is a real learning experience. And I mean, we truly believe that this is the future of lending, and not only the future of lending, but the future of recording title to real estate and real property is on chain. So fortunately, we've been able to navigate some of the regulatory issues, though, because there's not really, with the non-QM space, there's not as many regulatory issues as there would be if these were occupied FHA regulated mortgages.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And let me ask while we're on the topic of the future of real estate, I wonder, as we might see a future where home deeds move towards tokenization, NFTs, et cetera. How do you see this product that you've launched here, USDC.Homes, tracking with the future of what's going to happen in the real estate market? What do you actually see for the real estate market as crypto becomes more mainstream and DeFi sort of eats the world?
Oh, man, this is my favorite question because I actually see, if you rewind the clock, the advent of putting title and giving clear title to real property really spurred a lot of the commercial growth and innovation that we've seen over the last 600-700 years. And, it happened over in France and England and a lot of the European countries. And that's what our legal system is based on here in the United States. But just being able to say you own something, improve it, allowed people to then borrow against their land and improve their land, right? They could then put a house on it and they weren't subject to just the fiat of the king or whoever was the nobleman that controlled whatever they did, right? And so if you extrapolate that out, right, we in the United States and in a lot of European countries and some Latin American countries can get clear title in the traditional system, but we can't really, you can't say that about, I mean, honestly, at least a quarter to 50% of the world, there's not really clear title, clear proof of title. And so the way I see this evolving over the next 10, 20, 30 years is that these legal innovations will then spread to the entire world. And we will be able to come up with a uniform way of recording title for all real property in the entire world. And, think of it, I don't know, this is,
So I think we lost Pat there. Anyone else having issue? Yeah. I heard us get to the point where we're gonna tokenize all real estate deeds all around the world. That's gonna create one hell of a liquidity opportunity there. And now for whether Ryan or Pat want to jump into this one, I'm actually curious to hear a little bit more about whether or not we might see USDC.Homes touching other markets. I know right now that we are focusing on the Texas market. Presumably, it'll be state by state. I'm making wild assumptions here, but whether Ryan or Pat, you want to jump in, what kind of expansion of USDC.Homes coverage might we see?
Yeah, I think USDC.Homes will go where the demand is. And it's clear that the demand is not only global, but it's actually specific in crypto-related cities today. So there was, as Pat launched USDC.Homes, there was a ton of demand in Texas as the starting point. We also saw demand in California. There was demand in New York. There was demand actually in Lisbon, in Portugal. So it's really going where the demand is for homes to be bought and where this niche of a problem, as it starts in the crypto industry, will begin to continue to unfold. So I think starting in crypto heavy cities, and of course I didn't mention Miami as another place.
Here, Puerto Rico's got a few crypto folks too.
Absolutely. That's where we think the trail of events will lead as mortgages start moving on. And of course, the other component that you mentioned is this incredible experience we'll have where a home that's up for sale can be tokenized into an NFT, listed on OpenSea. And when you're going to buy now, you could either buy the home outright on OpenSea, the deed to the home, or you could have another button that says buy with financing. And with your crypto wallet, we see a world where eventually your credit will be associated with a specific wallet you're using to purchase this asset, to purchase real estate on chain. And you can, in one click, get some type of financing that'll be able to secure the home, purchase the NFT, and start moving all of real estate on chain. You mentioned where, I think it starts place like Puerto Rico, like Miami, Austin, Lisbon, crypto capitals. And then it'll expand outwards from there.
Yep. Now, in terms of financing, let's talk about a question that came in from Innovator K. The loans being issued appear to be 12-month bridge loans, and you can correct me if I'm wrong there. What happens to the crypto-centric borrower after the year? So if they, for example, have had a lot of volatility on their assets after those first 12 months, if they can't find financing, after those 12 months, what exactly happens to them after that, in the case of that volatility?
If Pat is still here, I'll let him step in.
Sure. Some really good questions coming in. If you guys are looking at the town hall chat, you can see in Beta K 2 questions that are catching a lot of interest. We read them ad verbatim.
All right, awesome. If Pat's not able to get Wi-Fi, we'll try to answer for him.
Sure.
I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a real estate lawyer. Pat is. In
Then
the
this
case
is
of,
not financial advice, and seek your own counsel
and
as you
yes,
wish.
absolutely not legal advice. Over the course of the year, so one of the main issues with real estate is in hot markets like Austin, Texas, it's tough to close on a property if you don't have cash financing. You can typically get outbid. So just having the cash ready, this financing pre-approved and the cash on hand, enables you to close on the place. And this is very meaningful for people who have made good money in crypto, maybe quit their jobs to go full-time crypto, are yield farming, or are being paid in crypto. Over the course of that year, you do start building credit, both in the crypto world, as obviously everything's on chain, and with the idea of identity on chain, we can all figure out ways to leverage those repayments. But also in the off-chain world, you do start building credit over the course of that year that you are making payments on the loan itself. So you have a full year to refinance, and I'm speaking on behalf of Pat, so not every word may be true, but the goal is to eventually get to a point where a 30-year mortgage is possible. The reason that bridge loans are interesting to start with is because the crypto lender has a much shorter time duration than your typical traditional financial mortgage lender. Your traditional financial mortgage lender is typically older, wants to put their money away for a longer period of time and earn a safe return. Whereas the crypto lender wants a shorter duration of time and is looking for more interesting yields. So this is where there was this gap in terms of the specific mortgage product that a one-year bridge loan fills. It solves a problem for a crypto borrower to get into the property immediately, but it also enables an opportunity for the crypto lender to earn interest during that one-year period. Now, going on to one of the questions into the town hall chat, I see what happens if that crypto collateral drops by 50%. Well, here's where the home actually still has value. And here's what's interesting. Just as DeFi was over collateralized in the start, this is still a over collateralized loan. And we can think of a very basic case scenario. There are borrowers who have a good amount of money sitting in USDC, but because they don't have a current W-2 employment job, they don't have the ability to get your traditional Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage. So they want to keep their USDC sitting in a yield earning account, whether that's a BlockFi, a Gemini, or an on-chain solution for yield, and continue earning interest on it. So one opportunity for them is putting 0% down on the home. The home, when purchased, is still liable to be foreclosed upon, and the home still has value. And the USDC itself also has value. It is sitting in a BlockFi, Gemini, or decentralized yield farming account and can continue earning interest throughout the duration of the loan, ideally to a point where the interest being earned from the USDC goes into paying the monthly installments. So this is a way that you can have a more secured, over collateralized form of a loan. Now, the second is introducing crypto collateral. So that's ETH or Bitcoin. For those type of collateral, Pat's looking at over collateralization, where you still have 100% of the loan's value locked up in the house. So the house has equity anyways and can be foreclosed upon. For crypto collateral, Pat is looking at an additional over collateralization of the loan, whether that's 120%, 150%, some amount of ETH over the actual loan's value. The beauty of this is because it's a year loan and you have the collateral value of the house, you don't need to worry so much about liquidations. Let's say the price does start dropping. Of course, assets can fall 50%. Ethereum hit a high of 5,000 and we're at 1,800. In that case, when the collateral drops below a certain ratio, it starts being used to pay off the monthly interest. So the Ethereum can be sold to pay off monthly interest in the case that the borrower is not. But the way Pat initially scoped this with USDC.Homes is not to penalize the borrower because of volatility, but only penalize if they fail to repay monthly installments. So the additional crypto collateral is really there to pay back the monthly installments. And of course, if the borrower at the end of the year doesn't pay back the entirety of the loan, then that crypto collateral can be seized. But it's not just the crypto collateral, the home itself can also be foreclosed upon. So you're double secured in terms of collateral. And it's still an opportunity for a borrower over that 1 year period to get access to capital close in place. Of course, the worst that could happen is they get another bridge loan for another year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I think we answered Invader Case questions. And I want to give you the chance to have final words here. I'm not sure if we have Pat back on, but I learned a lot. That was awesome. I'm gonna, one of these days I'm gonna tap my crypto for a house probably as well. We have Pat back as well. I figured now's a good chance to open up for final closing statements. Pat, now that we have you back, do you want to say anything else to close us out?
Yeah, I was speaking, but for some reason my mic, I don't know, cut out. So just I wanted to tack onto that first question about, it's a 12-month bridge loan, and what do you do about refinancing out? Part of the reason we're going slow is we want to make sure that everybody is in a good position. And so having worked and in crypto and real estate, all of these intersections, we're going to make sure that all of our that they can refi into some product that works. Now, we're making a bet on ourselves that we're going to come up with a 30-year product in this 12 months. But in the event that we don't have that, then we would make sure that they had a traditional mortgage that we had given them approved for. So basically how we're working on this project, the micro level, small test case data. But yeah, just to tack on my earlier comments, I really think that crypto title is the future. Essentially, there will be a world where not necessarily mortgages, but all real estate title is on chain, and we're really excited about that. We're excited to be early adopters and early innovators. So thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining us. And then, Ryan, if you want to say anything else just to close us out, we'll start moving towards our thank yous and start wrapping up Town Hall here soon.
Definitely. If you are a crypto lender and you are looking for yield, real estate is a really interesting secured position. It's similar to the early days of over-collateralized DeFi in 2018 and 2019, where people were betting on the liquidation ability of ETH and Bitcoin. Now that those rates have started to compress, if you're looking for that next world of over-collateralized DeFi, head over to TrueFi. The first pool listed right now is USDC.Homes, and start earning yield. The yield will be anywhere between 5 to 8%. Of course, looking to maximize the yield that is available and help people in DeFi start to diversify into real-world assets.
Awesome. Ryan, thank you for that. And I'm hearing again, you said 5% to, what was that?
8%. And the typical should be around 7%, but that's what we're looking at in terms of a range.
Awesome. We're going to update that in the UI as well. So folks coming to the TrueFi Lending Marketplace page should see target yield at that rate. Now you know what to expect. And really amazing because it's also one of our first portfolios doing real world asset lending that is open to US investors. So pretty amazing. With that, gentlemen, I want to thank you both so much for joining us. And then also obviously big shout outs to folks from the Trust Token and TrueFi teams for launching this portfolio. If you are looking to wet your beak in Austin and Texas real estate, you've got links to the USDC.Homes portfolio right there in Town Hall chat. And to move things along, I want to hand this over to our legal mastermind here, MediciCrypto here, for the decentralization updates, which will soon be filed by blog post. So take us away.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So won't go into too much detail here, as we will have a detailed blog post coming out relatively soon. But as of this morning, actually, we have incorporated the legal entity, which will be sort of joining our on-chain governance to form our hybrid DAO. This is the TrueFi Foundation. It's a BVI company limited by guarantee without shares. And the blog post will detail sort of how this corporate form is pretty innovative, and how we will be, which I think will be a sort of first in the space, actually linking your token holdings to the legal membership in the entity, which will allow you to vote and be a voting member in the DAO, and also have limited liability through the foundation. So very excited to continue moving that forward. and a lot of details later in the blog post.
Thank you so much. So, just it's a quick high level thing, just to kind of notice here. Even in this town hall, and thank you for the decentralization update, we're covering 3 areas where so much is happening. One thing on product, launching an Optimism, and there's plenty more happening on product very, very soon. We'll tap engineering to tell you a little bit more about automated lines of credit and some really cool upgrades to the scalability of TrueFi. You're hearing about portfolio launches and doing some innovative stuff that just hasn't been done before. Lending to real estate with crypto. I mean, this is pretty groundbreaking stuff. And these portfolios are launching almost one a week. And then the third thing is, here you are hearing about the DAO and decentralization efforts, hearing about delegation platforms, hearing about the DAO making progress towards having a real world entity. At least 3 major buckets of stuff happening. And really this is sort of the average month for TrueFi. So I'm pretty bullish, but I guess that's part of my job description. So I figure now that we've teed it up with all things decentralization, it's only fair that we start moving towards our delegate platforms and some of our community updates. Really, this is product and project meant to be for and by the community. And we've got some amazing delegates coming up. We're going to go in reverse order of them being posted in the forum since the last town hall. So we've got, I think, 3 or 4 delegate platforms that have come in just in the last month or so. And I figure we'll start with Hal Fuet. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your proposition, how you want to sort of move the true that are staked in your favor, and also send us a link after you announce kind of what you're all about in the town hall chat or in governance, so that we can actually take a peek. And since you also showed us how to delegate, be able to do that just fine. So Hal, take it away.
Thank you, Michael. So as I said earlier, I'm a product manager at TrueFi, previously technical lead. I've worked on TrueFi from day 0, even before TrueFi existed. And I would say my primary goal as a delegate is to develop and support tokenomics improvements that drive lending volume and increase protocol revenue. I want to assure TrueFi continues to grow and can support a really broad set of stakeholders. I'll keep it brief, but yeah, you can delegate halfuet.eth. I'll just drop that in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Hal. And also dropping in our governance channel so that everyone can see these folks after the fact. Awesome. Now we'll move over to MediciCrypto if you want to say a little bit about your platform, and then we'll drop a link to also consider delegating.
Sure thing. So, once again, Michael Bland, Senior Corporate Counsel for Trust Token. And I've been sort of pretty active in the DAO space for a while now. I also advise some DAOs on the play to earn side, as well as other DAOs. Really just on, formation, governance, hybrid DAO development. We're also in sort of close contact with the maker folks and the policy team at A16Z. So, really looking forward to sort of bringing that background and experience to sort of using, delegated votes to move the DAO forward in a sort of a safe and scalable way.
Awesome, thank you. I posted your governance, your delegate proposal in governance as well. Rattlecage, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your delegate proposal? If you have any issues with unmuting, oh, great, you got it. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So just as a brief update, I've been involved with TrueFi since about January 2021 and governance on some other protocols in 2020. My long-term goals is to work on making a sustainable protocol to consider the interests of the different people who are seeking to delegate. Short term, I'm more focused on information gathering, talking to people who are looking to delegate, see what their concerns are, or even if they'd like a different structure entirely. Still early, so be good to see what people want. And in regards to TrueFi specifically, I'd just like to get more information on, how the structure works, what the budgets and costs to run the protocol are going to look like, so that we can get a good long-term sustainable system. Because some of the other DAOs I've been in have been kind of reactionary on that front and have struggled. And I just also say I'm happy we're onboarding USDC.Homes as a fellow Texan. So that's my.
Thank you,
That's where I'm
Rattlecage. Appreciate it. Awesome. Thanks. And finally, we'll finish with Tom Shields. Tell us a bit about your platform.
Hello. I've been involved with TrueFi from early days. I'm one of the original investors and advisors. I think one of the things that makes TrueFi a little bit unique, I mean, a lot of people point to the success of Compound and Aave as things that we can emulate in some ways, and I think there's a lot of great lessons to learn there, and other things that have been hugely successful like Uniswap. But I think for us to really achieve our full potential, we also need to recognize that we're pretty different from some of those things. And some of the things that make us different are things that are difficult or maybe impossible to do in kind of true idealistic DeFi. And so for me, the important thing is to make sure that we're being pragmatic about where we want to be regulatory compliant, where we may need small pieces of centralization that we can, put circles around and wall off, but that we're going to need in order to be pragmatic. Because the goal here, I think, for all of us is to, as we heard from tellers, bring on some of this real world stuff. There's tens of billions of dollars in crypto, but there's tens of trillions of dollars, thousands of billions of dollars in the real world that we can go get if we're a little bit pragmatic about this. So for me, it's really important that we find the balance between being full DeFi and taking advantage of all the amazing things that DeFi can give us and blockchain can give us, and still going after the institutional platform where the real difference is going to be made here. That's it.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. That is 4 new delegates. It's our last chat about a month ago or so, and plenty more I expect will yet come. You have seen how to delegate on today's call, and this is a great time. If you want to just be a looker on and have your stake true in the hands of someone you really trust, there's 4 really distinct viewpoints. I'm hearing transparency. I'm hearing real world optimization with some trade-offs around decentralization. I'm hearing deep technical expertise, deep legal expertise, and that's just from the 4 folks we heard from today. Hope I'm not misrepresenting anyone's platform, but to really get the best details, you should read their posts themselves. You'll find that in the governance chat, open to the public, visible to the public there. And any SDK true you have, you can delegate in the same way that you saw Hal walk through earlier. And you'll also be able to see a walkthrough of that on this recording once we post it in a few days. So that, finally, thank you for everyone's time, covers all our planned programming. And now's a good time for us to hand it over to the community. We are thrilled to answer any questions, open up a discussion. And if you would like to talk and are muted, just put a hand in the town hall chat or something. I'll make sure to unmute you if you want to speak. And then if you have a question that you want to throw to sort of the core contributors here, feel free to just ask in the town hall chat. And we'll take it from there. So I'll give it about 5 minutes. If I don't hear anything in a few minutes, then we'll take it away. Otherwise, anyone who's already unmuted can feel free to jump in. Whether that's Raph, Tom, or anyone else that wants to say a few words.
Thank you. Well, I good to hear some questions from the community.
Well, one question I think it'd be, yeah, right. I'll throw a few bones here to kind of stir the pot. One of the things that I know has been a big conversation is tokenomics. And, I know we've actually made a good deal of progress, both, in the open and also behind, a few sort of committee meetings in the private around moving things to something more interesting. I'd be curious to hear maybe Hal or Tyler, if you guys, either one of you or both, want to speak a little bit to what the status of tokenomics considerations are lately. What's going on in that world?
I can speak on that. So
please.
Tokenomics, we have, I've been doing a lot of research and creating a wide variety of specs, a few which I've already posted here. So we have a really cool spec right now we're working on for something similar to V curve, but rather than simply forking the V curve contracts, we roll out pieces of desired features, one feature at a time, and sort of prioritize which pieces of that feature that we need to work on the most. So sort of things that are in the works are a comprehensive fee model, a way to use stake true to directly allocate incentives, a long-term incentive model which extends incentives over time, and solving some of the liquidity problems that we have on chain and on exchanges. I can share some of those in the chat if people are interested. I think as far as like community participation, we are curious to hear your feedback on what we want to do with these fees. And I think it's extremely important. So generally there's a few things that can be done. Fees, one is to reinvest into the protocol. So use fees to hire people to work on new things. Another is to pay dividends, which is what we have been doing up to this point, is paying dividends to stake true holders. Two other options involving liquidity include buy and burn and buy and distribute. So buy and burn is where fees are used to market buy true and burn the true, removing it from the circulating supply and reducing the total supply, and buy and distribute being market buying true and distributing that true as an incentive for stakers.
I like the ideas here. I think that there's some definitely interest building in the town hall chat to see those specs. What I would love to advise is if you want to share those specs, but actually I would encourage one of these conversations to move into one of the DAO committees to discuss. So if that conversation wants to happen in, say, the Drive Treasury Committee or one of those other ones, maybe policy, I don't know. I'd love for that conversation to find a home in one of the DAO conversations, but hey, the more brains on this, the better. So just a little thought. Moving on, thank you for that, Hal. That's super awesome news. I want to actually ask another question on the community's behalf. We have had some really exceptional conversations with MakerDAO and with Frax lately, each of whom have ostensibly committed to putting 100 million each into TrueFi. And though we're still figuring out the mechanisms for how that will be allocated, that's no small feat to thread a needle on that stuff. I wonder if anyone in the community, anyone on the team can speak to what that is, catch people up here who haven't been following the conversation of the sort of MakerDAO Frax business, and then also tell us a little bit about what that might look like and where we are in that relationship. Maybe that's a Ben, Raf, or Tyler question. Ryan was instrumental in getting this done, but he's not here today. We just want to make sure to give him, his due credit for that. But any of the three of you or anyone else you recommend could speak to it.
Yeah, I can take that one. I'll jump in and I'll say, really excited about this. It's a huge vote of confidence to see interest from both Maker and Frax wanting to put on the order of 9 figures into TrueFi. With that comes, those teams need a lot of confidence. Those DAOs need a lot of confidence in TrueFi, and we need to kind of build a spec of what they want. So we're in the process of doing that now, and I'm excited about doing that, particularly with MakerDAO, because what they're looking for is kind of the type of financing structure where they can be a senior lender, be in a low risk position within specific portfolios, mostly focused on real world financing. And we've heard from a lot of different institutions that want to get involved in DeFi that they want to see something similar. So that what that means is building for the next big feature on TrueFi is the type of financial structure, multiple tranches within lending pools, debt waterfalls that make sense to those types of lenders. And that's really what we're focusing on to bring MakerDAO into TrueFi. Frax, some of the same things, and really just Frax is also working on kind of how, I would say Frax is a newer DAO, and just in as far as how they've progressed with moving towards real world financing and kind of what to do with their reserves. They're in the process of building out what that looks like at Frax. So with MakerDAO, they have like full committees building this type of stuff and full teams. Frax is forming that and kind of providing us those requirements as we go along to them. So I'll stop there. But yeah, these are like the two huge things that I'm probably most excited about moving forward.
Yeah, and I think especially in coverage with Ryan, it sounds like if the first $100 million goes well, then effectively up only, and then you start talking about real money. But there's also an interesting argument to be made around effectively building for MakerDAO liquidity, because there's so much of it, and it is looking for intelligent places to go. And I think we're one of the few places where you can find such a wide variety of sort of diversified risk, diversified yield, real world opportunities. So thanks.
Exactly.
Thanks for that, Tyler.
What are the sorts of portfolio managers that we need to bring on board to make our platform very attractive for that kind of protocol investor that wants to deploy capital with us?
And with that, I figured, Raf, I'd give you the final word. Anything you want to add to the end of the conversation here?
Sure. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Michael G, for hosting. And thank you, community, for participating in building TrueFi. As always, our goal is to become the definitive protocol for doing lending on the blockchain. We think it's a huge market. We're excited about it as always. We've come a long way. We definitely have a long way to go. And I think that the phenomenal team and the phenomenal community that we have here that's getting more engaged than ever is what really makes me bullish that we're going to be able to get there. So
awesome. Thank you, Raf. Thank you, everybody. Any final questions or words from anyone that wants to jump in? Okay, I think we're in a really beautiful place. We're just over time here. We really filled it up pretty densely, I think. Expect a recording of this in the next few days. But in the meantime, our thanks and our encouragement to delegate to people whom you trust, and make sure to grill them, ask questions, get in there and inquire about what they believe and what they're working on. And the second, just hope and ask is to find a DAO committee you like. Go ahead and verify your SDK true. If there's any issues with it, DM me personally or send a message in support. I will make sure to take you by the hand and walk you through every little step. And once you do that, to find a committee you like, just let them know, hey, I'm interested, and find some allies to do some contributions. This thing only really becomes a multi-trillion-dollar protocol if we can get your help getting there. So our thanks. We always want to make sure these things are always getting better. So thanks again. I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to play some music for us and let this thing wind down. Thanks again.
All right. See y'all next time.